Welcome, parents. I am so excited that you are here. We have an amazing guest, a really special treat. If you are the parent who is struggling with a teenager that just can't get many things done or anything done, or what they are getting done is causing them to have really unbalanced life, you're absolutely in the right place. So today we have Hal Elrod, and let me tell you some things about him. He has survived multiple near-death experiences, and he's impacted millions of lives because of that. Through his book, The Miracle Morning, which is in 37 different languages, it's practiced daily, The Miracle Morning, by over 500,000 people around the world. His story is incredibly inspiring, and I will really encourage you to go and check out his website to read that story. I'll have all those links below. So, welcome, Hal. Thank you so much for being here.
Renee, seriously, I'm really grateful to be here. And as a parent, thank you for what you're doing for all of us. We need it now more than ever.
Oh, you're most welcome, and it's my pleasure to have you. Yes, I know so many things have changed in the world, and parents need more support than ever, and their teenagers need more support than ever. And so they're sitting at home going, what am I supposed to do? Schedules have become turned upside down. So as you know, we're just trying to adapt, but what you have created actually can work for anybody, anywhere, and in 37 different languages, we'll just say. So what exactly constitutes a morning routine? What is that?
Yeah, in its simplest form, consider that how we start our day sets the tone, the context, and the direction for how we live our day, right? And most of us, especially teens, but adults too, we start the day with resistance and procrastination. I don't want to get out of bed, hit the snooze button. And that's a really detrimental energy to start the day with, versus the opposite, which is like, hey, I get to live another day. I'm excited. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to make the most of my morning. And that's the real premise, is how you start your day sets the tone, the context, the direction. So if you win the morning, you win the day. And for me, a morning routine, we all have morning routines. We just don't usually think of them that way. Like getting the kids late to school, that's a morning routine, right? Waking up late, that's a morning routine. Checking your phone first thing in the morning, social media, email, watching the news, those are all morning routines. You have to ask yourself, is my morning routine serving me? And so the way that I look at a proactive, a miracle morning, if you will, it's starting the day engaged in time, practices, proven practices that will enable you to optimize your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So things like meditation, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, journaling, right? These practices. So starting your day in a peaceful, proactive way that enables you to show up as the best version of yourself, so that every life you touch, everything that you do, you're more effective, and everything becomes a reflection of how you show up.
Absolutely. And I have seen how that morning routine actually really changes your perspective on how much you can accomplish in a really small segment of time. Yeah. And I learned that from you, is that when you strategically plan out all these definite elements to cause that balance that you were talking about, you can get so much more done in your day. You've got the clarity, the focus, you've got the energy, the physical energy, and the mental energy. And I know that's what parents want for their children, and that's what they want for themselves too. So how can a parent support a teenager in starting a morning routine, and also in maintaining that? Because we know a lot of people will just start something, but it's the maintaining, that's where the magic happens.
Yeah. So it starts by, like anything in life, leading by example, right? So you've got to start a morning ritual. In fact, we wrote the Miracle Morning. Let me see, where is it? Right there on the wall. The Miracle Morning for Parents and Families.
Okay.
And when I wrote that, I co-authored that with some friends of mine that do the Miracle Morning with their kids. They started their kids at, I think 7 is when they started on their Miracle Morning. And I was inspired. I met them, I met their child. But anyway, the point is, I thought the Miracle Morning for parents is just do the Miracle Morning and you'll be a better parent. Because if you're growing and you're evolving and you're calming your nervous system through meditation. Like, I have a rule, by the way, here's a little bonus tip. I'm not allowed to read a business book until I've read a book on marriage or parenting. And that for me is to ensure that if my number one priority really is my family, it's one thing to say that, but a lot of us pay lip service to that. And I did for many years, but my actions need to be in alignment with my values. So family's number one. So in the morning, I have a meditation, a prayer, affirmations, all these things I do for my family. And I read a book on parenting or marriage before I have to earn the right to read a business book. So back to the kids. It starts with your morning routine. So I encourage you to, whether you read the Miracle Morning or, go to YouTube, watch video. I've done speeches on it. You can find it anywhere, miraclemorning.com. You can get a little free preview. But the point is, do a 30-day challenge for yourself. Okay. Do it. When I say do it for yourself, I mean do it for yourself in every way. Do it so that you can tap into your highest potential. And right now, more than ever before, when our outer world is so crazy, we've got to take ownership of our inner world. And that's what the Miracle Morning allows you to do, right? Is every day you start the day by taking ownership. Here's how I want to feel. Here's what I'm going to focus my energy and attention on that serves my highest purpose, that enables me to be the parent that my children deserve, the spouse that my husband or wife deserves, and the human that humanity deserves from me. And so that's the first step, is you've got to start the Miracle Morning. You have to do it yourself for a month. Then once you do it, I encourage you to gamify it for your kids. And gamifying it, meaning, right, that you've got to make it fun. It can't be, hey, you have to do this thing. It's, hey, first of all, they should see those changes in you. They should go, Mom, Dad, you're like a different person. Why are you so positive and excited? Like, they should feel your energy. It should be contagious for those 30 days. You can say, I'm doing this thing called the Miracle Morning, and actually play a little bit where you show them, like, but don't let them know, like, say, nope, you can't, until I'm done with my 30-day challenge, I'm not going to tell you about it, right? And so create a little bit of excitement, enthusiasm by just going, wow, I want whatever you have, Mom. I want whatever you have, Dad. That's you're a different person. And you really will experience that, as millions of people have that do the practice, and then gamify it for the kids. And that could be different for different, there's no one way to do that. You might say, hey, all right, I did this 30-day challenge. It changed my life. And so I'm going to invite you to read the book and do the 30-day challenge. And you could, I mean, a cash bonus could be one way to gamify, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you,
especially.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's what you have to ask yourself is, what do my kids want? Right. And then what do they want? And the Miracle Morning is kind of like the vitamin that they don't want to take, but it's good for them. So you put it in a hot dog or something when they're kids, right? So the point is, you need to, what they want. You'll know when you do it that the Miracle Morning will change their life. And so I would say that you go, okay, well, what do they want, and align the two? How can the Miracle Morning be something that they do where, yes, they're going to experience the benefits of it, but there's some light at the end of the tunnel, because you might have to bribe them. You might, or however you gamify them, or maybe it's like, hey, yeah, we'll go on that trip, hey, if you do the Miracle Morning for 30, and do it, by the way, here's my best tip, is do it with them. I'm glad I didn't leave that out, right? Do the Miracle Morning for yourself so that you fully understand it, that they can see the benefits firsthand. And then do the Miracle Morning with them for those 30 days. Invite them to do it with you. And then at the end, you celebrate by going on a trip that they wanted, or get some sort of incentive, I think can be healthy.
So what you're saying, just to clarify, is that you want the parents to do it first for 30 days, and then they're modeling, and then their teenagers are going to see this change in their parents and really appreciate it and love it. And then they're going to go, hey, in whatever way they want to do that, now it's your turn. And you know what? I'm going to do it with you, alongside of you. And a lot of parents, Hal, don't realize, of teenagers, they think that because teenagers are working to assert their independence, and the parents are wanting to loosen the rope and loosen the strings a little bit. As a life coach for teenagers, teens they do want to spend that time with you. They are watching you. They need your love and encouragement, support. They may not act like it sometimes in their body language, but trust me, they do. And they are really watching you. So I think that's beautiful that you said, hey, you do it first.
Yeah.
And that's just going to elevate the family. And that's so important again in this time now, is to really, really cling together as a family during all the things that we're going through in our world, right?
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
So here's the kicker, especially for teenagers, because I have some of my clients, I want to coach in the morning, like, they don't roll out of bed, especially now if they're schooling at home or whatever. They don't roll out of bed till close to the lunch hour. What do you say about people that think like morning or earlier is like a 4-letter word? I mean, I'm not a morning person. I bet you wish you had, $1 for every time you'd heard that from somebody.
Yeah, well, I do. And so first of all, that was me. When I started the Miracle Morning, I was desperate. It was 2008. The economy had crashed and I was desperate to find something to change my life. And I came across an article on morning routines, and it convinced me that if I want to change any area of my life, I've got to change the way I start the day. That's arguably the single most important determining factor in how effective I am throughout my day, is how I start it. So that's what sold me on it. So I wasn't a morning person, but I was asked during an interview probably a year ago, they said, what percentage of people that do the Miracle Morning were already morning people? So this was like no big deal. They just stopped watching the news or checking email first thing, and they did the practices of the Miracle Morning. And then they said, what percentage though were like exactly what you just described? I'm not a morning person. Never been one. I've tried. I hate waking up early. And I didn't know the answer. And so we surveyed our community, which back then was probably a few 100,000 people. And 72% said they had never, before they read the Miracle Morning, they had never in their life been a morning person. So it's kind of a join the club kind of thing. And it's like anything. We don't like waking up early because we don't have a purpose for it. If you have a purpose, like when I first created the Miracle Morning, it wasn't called the Miracle Morning. It was just these 6 practices. That night I went to bed. It was 2008. The economy had crashed. I was depressed at that time. Mm-hmm. But when I had a clarity over, I was going to start the day in this purposeful way that was going to change my life, I went to bed like a kid on Christmas Eve. Like I couldn't wait to fall asleep and wake up and try this morning ritual. And so it's kind of like, you don't know until you try it. But I think that when people read the Miracle Morning, they've told me, like, a friend recommended it. I was like, I don't even want to be convinced that I should wake up early. They're like, but when you really make it simple, if something's easy to do and the payoff is extraordinary, most people are willing to give it a try.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're really, we surprise ourselves, don't we? You're like, I'm really not this. But you might have it in you, and you probably do have it in you. It's a mindset shift. But I love going back to where the parents are modeling. So you've reflected back on 2008. Let's go further back. Let's go back to your teenage years. So what would the teenage Hal, what would you tell him now about having a morning routine?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think here's what I would do, and it's the same thing I would do with my teen, right? Is I would tell him that, I would ask a question: what do you want out of life? And then I would explain to him that, like I said a few minutes ago, arguably the single most important change you can make is to wake up 30 minutes earlier and dedicate those 30 minutes to becoming the person that you need to be to create everything that you just described me that you want for your life. And then I would probably actually go online and Google successful people or famous people who were early risers. And I would go, look at this, right? If you study the world's most successful people, one thing that most of them have in common, from Olympians to CEOs to, you name it, is they were early risers. That they understood this principle of starting your day in a proactive way and dedicating time to your personal development first thing in the morning so that you do become that person that you need to be in terms of your knowledge and your habits and your mindset and your discipline to create everything that you want for your life.
And it really is it's no coincidence that all these people are early risers. And I will say, just people in my personal life, people that have been my mentors, or just women that were older than me over the years that I admired so much, or men, that's one thing they had in common, is they all woke up early. And early is relative. It doesn't mean everybody has to be it has to be what works for you. But generally, it's just earlier than what you're doing now, I will say, right?
Yeah. You might have to binge on Netflix for 30 minutes, watch one less episode, before you go to bed a half an hour earlier to wake up a half an hour earlier. But it's not, in fact, the Miracle Morning, most people do about an hour. I think that's the most common.
Yes.
But there's a chapter in the book called the 6-Minute Miracle Morning, which you might have your kids start with that, right?
Yes.
Which is like how you literally can do each of the 6 practices for 1 minute each. 1 minute of silence, 1 minute of reading your affirmations, 1 minute of visualization, right? You just 1 minute each practice, and that can be a game changer. And that's in as little as 6 minutes a day. So it doesn't have to take a lot of time.
It's what can, and that actually takes a little bit of the anxiety out of even trying this, knowing, hey, this can be done in less than an hour. This can be done in a smaller amount of time. So as we wrap up here, Hal, what would be a challenge, the action step? And I know you've talked about doing for the parents starting, but what do you want them to do like in the next 24 hours to move forward to help their teen be successful with the morning routine?
Yeah, what I would say is that in the next 24 hours, I would encourage the parent to start and to let the child know what they're doing, that they're doing it to benefit themselves. Probably a good way to go about it, I know this is a very short interview that we're doing today. If you go to miraclemorning.com, you can get what I call the Miracle Morning Fast Start Kit for free. And by the way, there's nothing being sold to you afterwards. Like literally, this is just an introduction to Miracle Morning.
Right, I can vouch for that.
Yeah, you get a 15-minute training video that goes, kind of introduces you to it. You get a 60-minute audio, and you get, the first few chapters of the book for free to kind of get you on your way. That's a great way to start. And within an hour, you can have like, oh, wow, I've got the steps written down. I've got everything, I've got clarity and everything. And so that's what I would do is I would literally it starts with setting your alarm clock up 30 minutes earlier, right? And then having clarity on what you're going to do in the morning. And at the end, whenever I give a speech, I always end it with the Miracle Morning 30-day challenge. And the way that I do it is this. There's 3 steps. Number 1, move your alarm clock back 30 minutes earlier. That's it, just 30 minutes. You can do an hour if you want, but start small. 30 minutes earlier. Do one of the savers. The 6 practices of the Miracle Morning are silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing or journaling, right? Pick one. In fact, people that haven't read the book, they'll just do the R for reading, and they'll go, well, I'm just going to start reading the Miracle Morning. And when I get to the chapter on silence, then I'll integrate that into the morning ritual. And then when I get to affirmations, I'll integrate that, right? But just baby steps, keep it really simple. And then last but not least is I invite everybody that's listening to this, join the Miracle Morning community. It's a free community on Facebook with 270,000 members from over 100 countries that wake up every day and support each other. And when you join, you'll see people that are, that have done 1,000 Miracle Mornings, and you'll see a lot of people that it's day 1 for them, or they started a week ago. And so you can tap into that and not feel like you're alone, because the Miracle Morning, usually you're up early, nobody else around. You can really get support and ask questions and, check in there every day. But so I know that was a lot. The point is, set your alarm back 30 minutes earlier and do one practice to enrich your life for those 30 minutes. First thing in the morning, you could stretch for 30 minutes. You could read for 30 minutes. You can meditate, and it could also be less. It could be 10 minutes, but just don't let this inspiration, if you will, don't let it go to the wayside. Wake up a little earlier tomorrow and do one form of personal development to enhance your life and enhance yourself. And then with the intention that you're going to share that with your child once you feel like it's impacted your life in a meaningful way and you want to pay it forward and help them do the same.
So that's a big challenge, but absolutely it's a challenge that I'm going to encourage you parents to take. And I'm going to have the links below to get the free gift that Hal so graciously is giving you today, and also to find all about the Miracle Morning. Hal, I know that you're a busy man. You have a movie coming out. Could you tell us about that real quick before we sign off today?
Yeah, I would never deny you that. Yeah, so 5 years ago, we started filming the Miracle Morning documentary and going around the world showing these people that have these amazing transformations. One gentleman, Mike Eaton, lost 90 pounds. This woman in Kenya who's a single mom who had her eyes replaced. She was blind. She had her eyes replaced, and she got really depressed. And the Miracle Morning cured her depression. And so we flew around the world and filmed all these people. And then 2 years into the filming, I couldn't breathe, and I was diagnosed with a very rare aggressive form of cancer, and I was given a 30% chance of surviving. And I called our filmmaker. I said, the movie's on hold. I'm fighting for my life. And he said, I'll be there with a camera. And I went, what? And he ended up explaining why it was important. He said, I believe you're going to beat this, and I want to film you in your darkest moments if you're willing. And I want to film your journey to beat this cancer. And so the Miracle Morning documentary comes out on 12/12/2020. It's everything from the Miracle Morning journey to change the world, millions of lives one morning at a time, to how I was able to beat this unbeatable cancer. And you can go to miraclemorningmovie.com to get all the details.
Thank you. And congratulations on that. And I know it's going to be absolutely inspiring. I remember when you went through that a few years ago, and I was one of those prayer warriors for you. And I remember thinking that you were just right down the street from me in Houston. And I'm thrilled that you are doing so well now. And again, thank you so much, Hal, for giving us all this time today. I really, really appreciate it.
Renee, it's mutual. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Us parents need it more than ever. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.